Welcome back to the Overdose Composable Commerce Summit for APAC. I'm Raven, and if you've just joined us, I'm the Partnerships and Brand Lead for Overdose in Asia Pacific. It's my privilege to be your event host and MC for today. We're continuing to bring you that top-of-the-line innovation and e-commerce experts to the table. Before the break, we wrapped up with Reviews.io, Stackler, and also Yotpo for the UGC and loyalty solutions. Now we're going to crack into personalization and AI with Nosto. So it's all about delivering your customers that personalized shopping experience at every single touch point across every device. So Nosto, they analyze hundreds of thousands of data points across your store in real time, and that helps you to go beyond the numbers and see the individual. So Nosto harnesses big data to build that deep understanding of your everyday customer in real time. It automatically predicts and delivers the most relevant shopping experiences at every point across literally every single device. So it's being developed with these busy e-commerce professionals and ease of use in mind. They're actually the most effective way to build and launch personalized marketing campaigns without the need for that dedicated IT resource as well. Nosto makes sure that your rich data isn't being locked away in these silos, but can actually be accessed and utilized efficiently through one complete personalization solution. Right now, I would love to introduce you to Paul, the account executive from Nosto. So he's going to cover how you can facilitate conversation and loyalty using that authentic content in combination with top-tier personalization tactics. He's going to go over how you can make the most out of your core capabilities with Nosto, such as the segmentation, content personalization, and also that category merchandising. It's all in combination with user-generated content so that you can yield those results and create those meaningful commerce experiences. Please join me in welcoming Paul from Nosto.
Thank you very much, Raven. Pleasure to be here and love working with the Overdose team. So great to be part of this summit. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you guys are tuning in from. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to listen to this presentation about the power of authentic personalization and how you can facilitate conversion and loyalty with your commerce experience platform. So before we jump into this, just give you a little bit of background on myself. My name is Paul Yuen. As Raven just mentioned, I am a sales executive for Nosto in the Asia Pacific region. Been with Nosto for about 3 years and have been in the e-commerce space for about 7. So my day-to-day typically involves chatting with marketing folks such as yourselves to help identify personalization opportunities on the respective websites. Usually the goal is around optimizing conversion by leveraging enhanced product discovery and using Nosto solutions to provide for their online shoppers. So first, let me kind of introduce you to Nosto in a few words. Nosto is a commerce experience platform that will allow you to optimize and personalize your omni-channel shopping experiences. So with Nosto, you will be able to do things, for example, like personalize the content on your site according to the behavior of visitors. You'll be able to do this in real time. You can do A/B testing in terms of different content pieces, optimize your on-site experiences, or even automatically sort things like your collection or category page according to the criteria such as the conversion rate or inventory level. So a lot of things that we address with our platform here. But don't worry, there isn't a quiz at the end of this, so we'll take time to expand on each one of our offerings quite shortly through this presentation. So what I'd like to communicate as we're looking at this slide here is that we work very closely with the above e-commerce platforms and a multitude of technology providers and agencies such as Overdose. We've endeavored to build out seamless integrations that enable you to get up quickly and share data between the platforms. So in the interest of basing this presentation on just one question, we decided to pose the question, why is authentic personalization key for you, your shoppers, and customers? So just a little bit of background, today's shoppers really seek authenticity and expect personalization from brands. And as you may have already heard from, earlier presentation with Ed Sinclair over at Stackler, Stackler is now part of the Nosto family. And therefore, as part of their reporting, we actually found with one of their consumer surveys that 70% of consumers say it's important for brands to provide them with personalized experiences. Uh, the data has proven that shoppers will reward brands that are able to consistently provide them with these types of experiences. Furthermore, 83% of consumers believe retailers need to provide more authentic shopping experiences to consumers like them. People are more likely to buy from an online store if it has real content. And people are more likely to buy from a brand if they are providing a more personalized experience. So, together, Nosto can help e commerce brands deliver highly authentic user generated content, now with Stackla, along with on site content personalization to create better and more authentic online shopping experiences for customers. So, I guess the question at this point also becomes what's holding brands back from delivering that to consumers? Now, typically, we see these three key areas as the main three pieces to solve when trying to figure out this personalization puzzle. The first on the left here is data. So, most of the data that a store actually generates is behavioral. And this is generally speaking, with most of the conversations that I have, a hugely untapped asset. If you don't leverage this data in real time, you get incorrectly personalized experiences. So we've all seen product recommendations, for example, based on nothing but bestsellers or things that are not really based on the shopper's behavior. If they're telling you they're interested in a category or a specific type of product, we typically see an incorrectly personalized experience as not being able to relate to the shopper's behavior. Now, secondly, we might also see incorrectly merchandised items. So, if you've ever seen items that are out of stock or doesn't really keep that shopper segment in mind, let's say you have a business that has B2B and B2C, we need to make sure that we are thinking about the shopper and what it is fundamentally that they're looking to discover on their journey in the site. So, making sure that we're maximizing the chance that they're seeing the best results is definitely something that relies on that data. The third piece of that would be losing lost sales and potentially having unhappy shoppers. So, think about this in that you have an hour after work or maybe 20 minutes on your lunch break. You're visiting a website and you're browsing products. That's a very narrow window of engagement. So, depending on where you land, your homepage, category page, product page, we need to make sure that you're seeing the most relevant and engaging products for your discovery. So much like typing anything into Google search, you might say, okay, I'm really going to look at page one of those results. And so that's kind of Nosto's job, right? We want to make sure that when a shopper visits your site, much like typing anything into Google, they see the most relevant and pertinent results right at the beginning. Doesn't matter which page they land on, we need to make that consistent throughout their journey. So incorporating the data that they give us is key to that. Now, the second piece of it is the content. So, data is just one piece of the puzzle. To deliver the promise of personalization, brands have to have enough authentic and diverse content to support these types of one to one interactions. And so, to do it at scale. So, not just product shots, we're talking about, maybe you type anything into Amazon and you actually hover down on reviews. It's the ones with the user generated content, the images, the social proof that you typically really spend much time engaging with. And that really is something that helps you deliberate, okay, I trust this brand, I trust this product, and this is something that I'm going to go ahead, add to cart, and move through to checkout. Now, lastly, what we're talking about here is deliverability. So even if you had all the data in the world about the types of shoppers visiting your site, what they're most interested in, and you do a reasonably good job with deploying content and getting that to that specific group of shoppers, the key thing is it needs to be actionable. Can you do this at scale? And so the last piece of it is really around the deliverability, making sure that you have a platform that is going to be able to tie all these things together, create a seamless experience that doesn't involve you being in the platform every day micromanaging things. So at Nosto, we like to think we're the first platform to really pair authentic content pair the authentic content consumers seek with data and deliverability tools needed to create that unmatched kind of meaningful shopping experience. So the way I like to think about this is Nosto sits on top of your e-commerce platform as kind of a behavioral data platform. Think of us kind of maybe in the sense of a light customer data platform, but specifically geared for e-commerce. So we ingest all of the e-commerce data from your platform, transactional data, and what we do is we connect it to your products and try and understand the relationship between the behavior of shoppers and, say, the products that are in your catalog and their past performance as well. So what we then do is we go ahead and leverage certain tools like our segmentation or product recommendations or even merchandising tools. And all of this essentially allows you to create and test fully personalized experiences for customers based on that real-time data and action. So as you see here in terms of these circles, we have personalization as well as merchandising and automation. So that's kind of key uh, parts that Nosto as a platform addresses around deploying personalized content. And we have the visual UGC, which is a little bit more Stackler wheelhouse, but this is the idea that we're helping you discover, create, curate, and deploy that content on your site as well. So, looking at a typical kind of customer journey, every step of that journey, every touch point represents an opportunity you have during the course of a customer's time on your site to enhance their e commerce experience or their personalization experience. Each of these touch points that you see here maps to a corresponding KPI that can be in turn improved by enhancing the customer's commerce experience, making it a little bit more personal and a little bit more authentic. And the KPIs that you see above are something that Nosto helps delivers for our merchants every day. So I thought on the next few slides, I would touch on some of the ways that our customers use Nosto to achieve these goals. Firstly, the building block for any good personalization is segmentation. This helps you deliver the content that is relevant to who the shopper is and where they are in their buying journey. So, if you're thinking about segmentation, you may already have experience with this when you have your email marketing campaigns. And you may also think about this if you're completely new to segmentation as looking through what types of categories of items that you have within your store. So all of these could be, some basic starting points if we're looking to get quite granular. Then you might want to take a step back and think about, okay, how do we do this if we're completely new to segmentation? We've never done it before. And an obvious starting point might be whether the shopper is a first-time visitor versus an existing customer. So, for example, what if that shopper arrives to your site from a Google or Facebook promotional ad? Each of these segments should be served different content, and there should be different messaging based on what they've interacted previously before they enter the site. But also, we might not want to stop there, right? We might want to start thinking about combining different segments to get even more granular. So we might decide there are existing shoppers as a segment, but also those that have a high average order value. So in that sense, when it comes to understanding that segment, we might want to, on a tactical level, deploy something that focuses on merchandising every product recommendation that they see with hiding things like heavily discounted stock. So that way, we're kind of making sure that they see the latest products, the latest bundles, and at a tactical level, we can kind of think about what is the best way to get the shopper through to conversion, for example, if that is the KPI that we're focused on. So understanding the segments of shoppers that you have is super important. We also have a bunch of different ways to import or export those segments from ESPs such as Klaviyo or Digital. But also, once you understand who those shoppers are, how they interact with certain categories, what affinities they have, what products really resonate with them, then we can start thinking about the messaging or content that we're going to want to personalize for them. So this slide is really just kind of giving you a quick example of a shopper who comes in as a organic shopper versus one that is a VIP. So this is an example of Woodhouse Clothing. They've offered additional benefits to their VIP segment of shoppers by customizing the content of their homepage when a VIP segment of shopper arrives on the site. So while all visitors see the traditional sales promotional banner on the left, the loyal customers will have access to, in this case, a secret sale that will offer them an additional 10% discount on the right. So this strategy actually delivered a 44% improvement in conversion rate for those customers. So again, understanding who those segments are and where you should be prioritizing your efforts allows us to go ahead and create very personalized experiences for the ones that we think are really going to help improve conversion, average order value, or engagement for that page and for the business. So this is one that I think a lot of folks with any kind of website with more than 15 products should be quite familiar with, product recommendations. So recommendations are easily the most bang for your buck when it comes to deploying an effective personalization strategy. They can, for the most part, be on every touch point of a shopper's journey, from the homepage, product page, cart page, 404, and search. So here at Nosto, we have a library of algorithms geared towards KPIs such as, AOV, conversion, and engagement. But what sets us apart here is, Paul, we've got recommendations already on the site. What's different about Nosto compared to what we're using? And Nosto's approach is fundamentally different to a lot of recommenders. Most recommenders will essentially churn out products based off of transactional data, which means they'll review the historical performance of how well that item sold, and based on that data, create an upsell or cross-sell recommendation. Nosto, however, places an emphasis on behavioral data, which means we're a lot less product-centric. We're here to tell you everything about who that shopper is and why they're interacting with that item. So we cookie a shopper as they visit the site. We pick up on category affinities, product attributes that are important to them, and we can then churn out recommendations that are at a one-to-one level. So without going into too much detail about all the different ones we have in our library, one I wanted to quickly highlight is something we call dynamic bundles. So this is designed primarily to drive up the average order value. All retailers know that the average order value is a magical metric and arguably one of the most important tactical and strategic metrics in e-commerce. So improving this brings down the relative cost per delivery and drives customers to shop multiple product categories versus just the one, which as a result positively impacts crucial metrics like customer lifetime value and revenue per visitor. So dynamic bundles is Nosto's solution to achieve this higher average order value. And in a nutshell, dynamic bundles are a way to create sub-collections of products that go well together. They leverage the everyday knowledge of e-commerce managers and visual merchandisers and put that knowledge to use, either through individual product SKUs or product categories. So popular use cases you might see include things on the lines of frequently bought together, complete the look, or bundled offers, as you see here with New Zealand Muscle. Just tying this up with a couple or one last example here is an example of combining content personalization and recommendations. So in this client's use case, this was dealing primarily with a segment of shoppers for paid ads. And so our data shows that the engagement of shoppers coming in from paid ads to a PDP can be very low, with the shoppers barely scrolling past the product image if they don't see anything that really resonates. This typically translates to a high bounce rate. Perhaps these shoppers have multiple tabs opened up or have low loyalty to the brand or the site. So in an effort to engage them, we might do something as simple as moving a product recommendation to the top in an effort to engage them and get them to do some more product discovery. So that's a play on content personalization as well as our product recommendations. Now, we've talked about Stackla in a lot of depth in user-generated content, so I'm just going to keep this quite high level. Essentially, user-generated content is great social proof for shoppers visiting your brand. It shows people have bought the item, that they interact with it, and shoppers can get a sense of what that item might be like with everyday use. So in that sense, what we have here is Pack Sun. And so what they've done here, instead of using the traditional kind of Instagram feed of content, they use us to pull in TikTok content of end users engaging with the brand, and they've combined it with shoppable call to actions for each product displayed, which effectively increases the click-through rate to the website, or if it's already on the website, increases the click-through to cart. Okay, great. So just kind of tying up the last piece of the Nosto feature set, we have something called category page merchandising. So, analysis of Nosto-powered brands reveals typically that 70% of online sales originate from the category pages. These are often the most trafficked page on your site, so you got to make sure that we're personalizing them. And so the first rule of effective use of our category page merchandising tool is that you really shouldn't be wasting any real estate. It's quite limited, and so kind of like searching Google results, we need to make sure that the shopper sees the most pertinent ones right at the beginning. So something that Nosto can do with category page merchandising is reorder the results of an entire collection or category page and prioritize what we think is going to engage and resonate with this shopper the most. For a first-time visitor hitting that collection or category page, we might decide that would be based on something a little bit more generic, like bestsellers in that collection, new arrivals in that collection, or perhaps items that are just highly engaged with. But as soon as a shopper actually clicks in on any one of those items, there are certain important attributes about that item that differentiate it from everything else we see in the collection page. So in the example of shoes, it could be something like brand, the function of the shoe, the material, the color, the occasion. So all of these product attributes allow Nosto to fine-tune exactly what it is that resonates for this shopper. So if they go back to that collection page in that same session, we can reorder it and prioritize results that contain attributes that we know is really going to resonate with this shopper. So that's kind of like the Nosto platform at a very high level. We have a bunch of case studies where shoppers, clients such as the Wildlife, have gone ahead and implemented or deployed multiple Nosto features to create an altogether personalized journey for their shoppers. Now, being mindful of the timing that we have here, I'm happy to open this up to Q&A, but I just wanted to quickly mention that, of course, since it is my day-to-day to review or evaluate websites, I'd be more than happy to create any kind of site audits of your website if you decide you want to see whether Nosto could be a good fit for your organization. So please feel free at any point to shoot that in the message or put that in the LinkedIn chat. But Raven, back to you with any questions you have.
Fantastic. Yes, we do have some. Firstly, how do you validate a personalization campaign?
Great question, Raven. So I think the key thing is when you hear about all of these different content personalization features and solutions, right? Recommendations, changing out pieces of content, there is a huge potential for scope creep. And whilst we're not an A/B testing platform where we want you to focus on the color of your checkout buttons, we need to make sure that you, with your bandwidth, are getting the best results. So it's all about actionability. So when we talk about things like personalizing a hero image or a banner or merchandising a recommendation in a certain way, everything that we do at Nosto involves testing that variant. So we will test it against each other. We can do multivariate testing as well. And that is the real backbone to giving us actual data behind the campaigns at a tactical and strategic level that we run.
Amazing. So how would someone be able to identify opportunities for personalization on their site?
Yeah, absolutely. So something I just alluded to is something that I do on my day-to-day. Again, happy to provide any kind of site audit for any clients that or prospects that are interested in seeing whether Nosto is a good fit. And, we can definitely come up with something.
Amazing. All right. And what does attribution, I should say, what does the attribution window look like for Nosto's recommendations?
Okay, now this is a very important and a little bit of a granular question, so kudos to whoever asked that. This one is really around, for those with no context, how we attribute Nosto's impact with something like recommendations. So what I typically see with things like out of the box with Shopify, it might be something like 24 hours. It could be a week. It could be 30 days. So those windows are quite generous when we talk about that recommendation actually generating conversion. With Nosto, it's super simple. It's 30 minutes. A shopper needs to interact with that tile within that recommendation carousel, add it to cart, and check out within that 30-minute window for Nosto to count it as conversion.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Paul, for bringing your high-level expertise to the table today. I know that you've got a team of experts also sitting back in your exhibition booth for Nosto and Stackler. So if you've got any questions, head straight over there and you'll be able to speak to the team at Nosto.
Thank you very much, Raven.
Thank you.